Everybody, welcome to the For the Love podcast.
Welcome back.
Yeah. We have got some fan favorites on the show today. Everyone's delighted, including us.
We have some host favorites.
Truly, host favorites is really also true. We've got Abby Wambach and Amanda Doyle on today. So they've been on before. You love, love, love them. Every time they're on, our downloads go through the roof because they are so wise and good and human, and we have tons of that in today's conversation.
Yeah.
You're going to be really glad that you hit download today. Before we get to it, I really wanted to hear about your experience. I wanted to go to the protest this week, and I was at a funeral. Can you tell me about it? I saw a lot of pictures.
I went with two friends. We went to the Austin. We went to the Capitol, the state Capitol, downtown. And I didn't know what to expect. I'd gone to the Women's March, which was huge.
Yeah, I went to it too.
And there was also a march component. This was more of a rally.
A rally, yeah.
On the steps, the front steps. It was great.
Packed.
It was packed.
Yeah.
I think the head count was 7,000.
Yeah.
I signed up through Hands Off, but there's actually a lot of different organizations sort of
saw that.
working together. Yeah. So I think 1,200 different cities across the states had rallies. Teeny tiny towns.
My heart.
Maybe only had 25 or 100 people, but still. When we walked up, we came in from the west side, and the first person I saw was an older gentleman, like a grandpa, in his military uniform with his homemade poster that said, "Defend the Constitution."
Oh, goosebumps.
And then we started crying right then.
Sure.
But honestly, what we noticed was there were so many people in that generation.
I love that so much.
That were down there. At one point, we kind of scooched by two grandmas in their camp chairs knitting.
That's amazing.
But with their signs.
With their signs. And with their presents.
And some, like the funniest signs.
Oh.
People are funny.
People are funny. I looked across all the United States at the signs. I'm like, oh, that's good.
Oh my gosh. But also some angry ones.
Sure.
Which obviously have their place. But the creativity, which what we keep saying over and over and what we keep hearing is do things you love, do things that make you joyful, tap into humor.
That's so true.
The best way to fight fascism sometimes is with humor. Just to take the edge off, honestly, deflate the balloon a little bit.
That's a great point.
And there were some funny ones, but the speakers were great. So for 2 hours, it was several congressmen spoke and did a great job. Someone from a local Social Security office spoke and said there were plans to shut down 2 field offices, and everyone made their phone calls and they retracted. They didn't close them. It matters. Your one little phone call adds up. So it was good. It was really good.
I'm so glad you went. I have also been at several marches and rallies, and they're so emotional to me. It's one of those, it hits an internal button for me that is very predictable. Something about the peaceful gathering, the democracy still matters as of today. Our voices count for something. This sense of solidarity, and we have shared values. It is so overwhelmingly beautiful to do that in a peaceful way.
In a peaceful way.
Yeah. This is the beauty of the system. If we dare to protect it.
And it was peaceful, but also everyone had really strong opinions. Those things can exist together.
Nobody would be there if they didn't.
So actually, no Nazis at our rally. It was not violent in any way.
Yeah.
We did see one person in a MAGA shirt, a gentleman, walking like backwards through the crowd, like from the front to the back, filming. Like he had his phone open, he was filming and just walking in front of people, waiting for people to see his shirt and react. And not a single person did. Like everyone just scooched aside and let him walk through the crowd. So, yeah, it was uneventful in that way, and also like
amazing
and life-saving just for this next week. It was also
international. Did you see? I mean, it was all around the world, and which also made me feel really emotional because so many of us are devastated by the way this administration is behaving in the world right now, and the pain and cost and loss his policies are causing other countries, other businesses, diplomacy itself, our allies. And so I think it felt important to me that the rest of the world see, like, we have not all reversed position over here, you guys. We are horrified. We are embarrassed. We are scared with you. We're also losing our rights.
Yeah.
Like as we speak. And something about that collective international sentiment that we got to share with our allies and our other countries made me feel a little bit less lonely.
And what they're saying is not just we agree, but we're proud of you. Like Europe is... Everything is so close. They're so tied together. We're really so isolated over here, but they've watched their neighbors go through this,
For sure.
you know, over and over and over with such close proximity. And so just hearing them say, reading all the messages saying, we're so proud of you. Keep going.
I cried.
It matters. The way the Canadians
I know.
are treating us right now was
My throat's
such
tight.
kindness and encouragement and saying like, you are not your government.
I know.
We understand this.
Gosh,
We're
it makes
on
me
your
wanna
side.
sob. There was this whole thing I saw yesterday on Instagram from France. And it was just all these French people holding up signs to Americans saying, we love you. Keep going. You're not alone. We see you. I looked, I cried through the whole reel. Like, something about that felt, it was like a dose of courage for me. To just not despair and not give in to this numbness that is a, what's the word? It's tempting.
Oh, it's so tempting.
It's tempting.
Every day.
Because I feel emotionally dysregulated every day. So it is tempting to prefer being numb.
Yeah.
To being this, just triggered.
Yeah.
But the world gave me some hope, I think, since the rallies everywhere, just going, we're all on this kind of same side of common good.
Yeah.
So
there's a political scientist, and I can't remember her name, but she's done extensive research on the tipping point of what it takes to keep a democracy. And it's 3.5%.
I saw that.
If 3.5%
Of dissenters.
Like make their voice known.
I saw that.
And however, it doesn't have to be a march. Like it doesn't have to be a full boycott of something. Just in your own way, in your own space, make your dissent known. 3.5%. No autocracy has survived. Like no coup has been successful if 3.5% of the population dissents.
That's so comforting.
Yeah. And
we're meeting that threshold for sure.
This past weekend, I think we're like close to halfway there in terms of all the rallies combined. So yes, like keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
It's actually worth it. And the rest of the world understands it's worth it. So
good. Speaking of forces for good
my gosh.
in the world, that was a pretty good segue. I just came right up with that in my brain. We've got two forces of good on the show today. Powerful, powerful women. They are both so smart, funny, wise, good. They're just good. I mean that in the most flattering sense of the term. We have 2 out of the 3 of the powerful women who make up the We Can Do Hard Things podcast. We've got Abby Wambach and Amanda Doyle with us today. And let's talk about Abby. First of all, Abby's been on the show a couple times. I mean, no big deal, but she's one of the greatest soccer players of all time. She's a World Cup champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. She said something so funny during her interview. I'm going to get it a little bit wrong right now, but we were just talking about how you can achieve like the greatest goal and it still doesn't deliver necessarily this brand new shiny life you think you're going to get once you have it. And she was like, I got named like the best athlete. And she goes, like in the world.
like all sports.
Yeah, that's right.
Men and women.
That's right.
Just like greatest athlete in the universe.
Like just of all time.
Right.
And we just burst out laughing like, that's how boring, how ordinary. She's also a New York Times bestselling author. She wrote an incredible book called Wambach. And I think what I love most about her is what I thought about her the very first time I ever met her. And this was in 2016. I met her in the fall of 2016 when Glennon and I were on tour together. We were on the Vuong tour, and Abby came with her to our last tour stop. And I had never met her. And I just remember her so clearly from that weekend of being this steady, strong, and gentle person. I fell for her hard immediately. I told Glennon, I'm like, I really love her. And Glennon's like, everybody does.
Yeah.
She's like, I thought everybody liked me until I started dating Abby. And she's like, everybody prefers Abby. Anyways, she is just such a wonderful human person. And then, of course, we have a favorite of this show. Amanda Doyle's back. And a favorite of me. She is a favorite person of mine. This is Glennon Doyle's sister, co-host of We Can Do Hard Things with the Other Girls. And she is one of the smartest, most capable, fiercely convicted, interesting people I've ever known.
Yeah.
I really mean that. Like every time Amanda and I have a conversation, I walk away thinking so much about a handful of things that she said. And she was a lawyer. She's absolutely a deep thinker. She worked deeply in the space of human rights, international justice work, and she's funny. So
she really is.
There's just really, what else do you want out of a person, you guys? So these 3 are hosting some really big and important conversations in their podcast space and just in their individual worlds. And then they have written and compiled a book called We Can Do Hard Things. And I'm not going to waste time right now describing it because we're going to describe it in the show. But it is a treasure trove of wisdom. I'm going to give you that little soundbite. And it's born out of all the work that they've done together for the last few years. And so you're going to love this conversation. You're going to love these women. We could have gone on and 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 on. Like every single thing we were talking about, I was like, yes, relatable, so much same. I think you're going to feel heard today. You're definitely going to feel understood. And I hope that you will also feel a sense of hope and possibility for the very life that you're living today, not the one that you have projected toward the future when this, and this happens, or when these things finally come together, but like the one that you're living today. And that's like the best news I can think of. So we are so, so lucky. So help me welcome, please, Abby Wambach and Amanda Doyle. All right, you two. Just welcome back. I'm delighted to see both of your faces at any time, for any reason, in any format. And I'm so glad that you are here with me and Amy.
Welcome.
It's so fun. I just feel like we could get into a lot of trouble, and it's making me very delighted.
Yeah. 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 Like what the listeners should know is we've already done like a 10-minute on-ramp of yammering, just jibber jabbering. And that's just not going to go into the final edit. I'll tell you that right now, listeners. So
Sure not.
sorry about that. You're going to miss out on that. Anyway, it's just a delight to have you both here. And I'm excited to talk about this book with you today, but also just about your lives. So you are in it, you guys. Like you are just in it right now. It is the podcast, which is just so high level at this point, and you are on book launches, and you are restructuring and reorganizing your community and how and where you gather, and it's just a ton going on. So let's start here before we get into the granular stuff of this incredible book. What's your life? Can we just you can answer that however you want. What's your life right now? Like, what is your life like right now? It's broad. Admittedly, it's not a great interview question.
No, it's a wonderful question.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start. I mean,
Yeah.
Jen, I love you, and I've always loved your podcast, and we have such a great, wonderful friendship. And,
Yes.
you know, these last many years have been a bit of a doozy for the three of us for various reasons. And personally speaking, and the work that we get to do on our podcast, the We Can Do Our Things podcast is, and I think for me, and sister, you can answer for yourself, Amanda, it's been kind of life-saving work. Often for the first couple of years, it was like, oh, who's like the most interesting, fun people and wisest stages we can talk to. And over the last couple of years, it's like, who do I need to talk to?
Totally.
About my problems, about what I'm dealing with, what I'm going through.
That's right.
And, you know, we're releasing this book May 6th, and we're really excited about it. It feels like kind of the hard-earned work over the last many years between the three of us, what we've all kind of personally been going through. And I feel really proud of this book. And Jen, you know, you're a contributor. We're so grateful for your generosity and letting us use some of the quotes and the things that we've talked about, because you are so wise. And a lot is going on. We're releasing a book in a month, and I don't know when this is going to air, but we're releasing a book, and there's a lot that goes into it. We're going on a book tour. It's the first book tour we've gone on with the three of us to be on stage. So I feel really excited.
Yeah.
Amanda is like the most fun person to be around, and obviously is wise and witty, but I'm excited to go on tour with her, to like have dinners consistently for like
do things that maybe adults do in the world, like have dinners.
Yeah, they have dinners, for example.
I think people who are not in their house for 23 hours a day have dinner.
They do. They have dinner. Sometimes they have coffees, you guys.
I think they do.
So you could even work that in if you're like really feeling it. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think just to finish what I'm saying, I feel like we're trying to figure out how we can best serve the world right now, in the world that we're living in right now. And we're doing a lot of building of things. We're doing a lot of creative architecture for not just our business, but like for our own personal lives, like the scaffolding that we've had to put in place in some ways for myself speaking, like to survive the death of my brother. You know, that's kind of how this book came to life. Glennon, myself, and Amanda just kept sending us quotes and things that the best people on our podcast in our lives have said to us, so that the three of us could survive the hardest times of our life. And yeah, it's a lot what's going on, and we're just trying to find our own unique way through it. And I think that the fact that we have each other to kind of walk through this life with, and the fact that we get to work together, it's a dream come true for sure.
Amanda, can you talk a little bit about those heavy lifts that Abby's talking about, what it is that you're walking individually through, actually, and then of course together?
Yeah. I mean, What is life? This is the big question. Like, what gestures just generally towards the universe?
Waves hand around.
with
What is
just
life?
A bamboozled face.
Yes.
Bamboozled face. I think it's like all of this stuff is going on, and all of the outward trappings of yay, you're doing a good job is happening, and yet it is always. I never feel like I know what's going on. I never feel like I have a handle on anything. I never feel like I am like, well, I've really landed in a place of clarity and wisdom. Here we are. And I think that is just, I feel like through this work, through what I'm trying to do with my long suffering therapist, through this book, is just like oh, that's not because can't figure it out. That's because it is like the nature of things, is that we just walk through, and like if we're having this really beautiful moment or this really cruel moment or this really there's like momentary glimpses, right? You only get it for like a half a minute on a good day, or maybe a second, where you're like, oh, I know something now. Like I feel like I know what is true or what is right or what feels good in my soul, or I have this sense where I can see what was invisible before it's visible for just a half a second. Like I see it, and there's comfort in it. And then I'm always like, I hope I don't forget this. I hope I don't unlearn this. And then only every single time I do. I forget. Right. I don't know. All of a sudden I am despondent again and I know nothing. And this is just I think it could just be me, or it could be all of us. And I think what I'm just trying to do lately in my most personal space is just accept being a human. Like really be like, maybe I should try that thing instead of rebelling so hard against it with every fiber of my being and trying to control and trying to know and trying to figure out all the time, just to be a human. And then I think part of that is trying to remain a human in this political environment, in this place of deep fear, and this place where so much is at risk. And I think the way we do that is continuing to see each other as human and continuing to let our hearts break over what should break our hearts. And so I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to stay heartbroken. And I think for me, what the greatest thing that this current book could do is just like those things that by the nature of us, we constantly unlearn and we constantly forget. It's like it's just full of those moments of clarity and wisdom. And it's like where you can see something that is inaccessible for 99.9% of your life. And it just to remind you. And like that is the way of being human. There's nothing wrong with you. And there are bits of wisdom you can hold on to. And you're not meant to see it all the time. But it's here.
It's good, Sissy.
It is. Just like she's good at answering.
Oh, I know. Like we actually were in New York City a couple weeks ago, launching the book out into the world. Not pub day, but the announcement of the book. And we did some interviews with Sister, and I just kept looking at her going, oh my gosh, you are good at this.
I feel one can't know because one has never done it. The only interview I'd ever done by myself was Jen Hatmaker's For the Love podcast.
Are you serious?
And that was a little, I'm sure I was fumbling a little bit, but you gave me my start, Jen Hatmaker.
I mean, listen.
In my acceptance speech, you're going to be number one.
Oh gosh.
I want to ask both of y'all about working so closely together.
Yeah.
Your colleagues. You've got multiple irons in the fire.
Yeah.
So many different projects going on, but you're also family.
Yeah.
So, what have you learned through this process of working so closely
yeah.
with family members on a business that's so all encompassing,
And so intense.
so intense? How do you keep your relationships intact and healthy
It's a really great
when your
question.
work gets so intense emotionally and just the workload of it?
Well, I have to go first, Abby, because I have to talk about Abby Wambach here. It's a great question, and one that, like, in full candor and honesty, we are always trying to figure out.
I'm sure.
It is, what is so interesting is like the things that make us so powerful together are also things that we have to be hyper aware of,
Totally.
in terms of at what cost, in terms of, and Glennon and I growing up in the same, all families are insane by definition. It's just your particular brand of insanity that you grew up with, and
Completely.
you don't find that out until other people enter with their particular brand of insanity and
right.
say,
Right.
your insanity is insane. So but that's
Yeah.
our brand, and we've been following it.
Yeah.
And then we get in this world, and then as we try to shift maybe from that brand, how does that work in our relationship? How does that work in our business? How does it's all fascinating, and none of it is easy. And I think what would have been utterly impossible is had Abby Wambach been anyone other than who she is, because she walked into, what was Glennon and me in terms of like our relationship, and she wasn't like, she wasn't added, she was missing, right? Like she came in and she is so confident in herself that she is not threatened by anything.
Yeah.
She's very clear-sighted. She is able to have this kind of quiet leadership that doesn't feel like it's shaking things up, but totally
Yep.
changes
It's not
everything.
heavy-handed.
Yeah. So I think I don't think it would have been possible with anyone else. And I think she also sees both of us with such love and gentleness and clarity that she can tell me things when I'm not correct, and I receive it, which, as you might imagine, is rare. And not that I'm doing things wrong, but me receiving it.
Of course.
And same with Glennon.
Yeah.
And she saves her voice for those times that it's most needed, which is another lesson that I should learn from her. But she's an elixir to the system, for sure.
Well,
What's your sense of it, Abby?
yeah, I think that having played on many different teams throughout my life, I'm well suited to work well with others. It's just part of my constitution.
Really, your work on all the national teams was just preparing you for this one.
That's right.
Your
Yes.
hardest challenge.
The universe was like, let's get her on a team. She's going to need the skill set.
Yeah, I mean, look, like there's a lot of different ways I could like talk about it, but I think the way I want to talk about it right now is like Glennon and Amanda are high level, not only like workers, they have incredible work ethic, but they're high level thinkers, high level feelers.
Yeah.
Amanda might have the most agency of any person I've ever known in that she can figure out like whole industries and how to disrupt them in ways, or find the little like, I don't want to say loophole as in like illegal, like she's like finding the way through that other people haven't found. And it's been such an interesting, eye-opening experience. I really thought that I came from a place where people really worked hard and really were creative and really were all guns a-blazing, like really ready to go. And then I walked through the door and met Amanda Doyle.
Totally.
There's just nobody like her. And the way that her and Glennon have forged and created the businesses that they've created and done the awesome art and put the awesome art in the world, I've just had to like really just be here and be myself. Like that is the way that I add value. I am not going to add value in the way that Glennon and Amanda do. I know that. But that doesn't like give me any lack of confidence because I know I bring something to the team.
Yep.
And yeah, like there's moments that have come up that we've had to really work through, but it's the consistent nature of working with people you ultimately like are in love with.
Yep.
Like I am in love with Amanda. She's like the very best of us. I'm in love with Glennon. Obviously, she's my wife. And how do we figure out a way to work together that is positive, that is necessary? And by the way, there are hard conversations that are had.
Sure.
You know, and I think at the end of the day, where we're at now is like having figured out and trying to consistently define what enough is, because what it is that why are we doing all of this?
Yep.
And we're constantly coming back to that question, you know, like we're constantly asking each other, is this what we want to spend our life doing? Is this what feels most important to us and the world right now? And if that answer is not a hell yes, then it's just a straight up no. And I think my role is always questioning that and saying, is this really what we want to be doing? Are you actually happy? Because if you haven't figured out those parameters, then it doesn't matter who you're working with, and it's for no good reason. So
it's so good. Yeah.
These two are the best. I feel like actually the luckiest person to have been put in their orbit. And it's magic. It's magic. Yeah. And the reason why it's magic is because it's worked on every single day by the three of us.
That's why. That's right. You didn't luck into it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen just on its own, like momentum. That is, you've put your hand to it. And I really love that question. And that's, by the way, my experience of all of you, just exactly the way that you just described, that you each play a different note in the song, and together, that's where it comes together. And they don't compete with each other. They don't have to. They complement. And to your really good question, is this how we really want to be spending our lives? Like, what's our best work right now? You know, what does right now's work look like? I remember a few years ago talking to Brene. She said something to me that it lodged deeply, and it's been a really good North Star for me because I felt like I was getting kind of jerked around. Yeah. And then there's this horrible, weird pressure once you have achieved whatever level of success that is. And that's, of course, a moving target. So it's a very, very stupid goal in the first place. But whatever it is, you hit whatever. And then the next thing feels like it needs to be bigger and better and more. And I remember her telling me, and I'm just lamenting this to her, just babbling over. And she's like, we're just not here to be we're not here to be like hit makers. She's like, that's not our work. Our work is not to always hit a list or hit the right media channel or hit the right numbers. She's like, we're not hit makers. Our job is to do the very, very, very best work with the thing that's right in front of us. Like, what's my work right now? What's the project? What's its parameters? Is this how I want to be spending my life? And she's like, you do the very best you can, that you are responsible for no outcomes. Yeah. And I thought, I like that. Yeah. I like that. Good. It took me out of that, like, that prison of always playing the long game. Like, how am I going to get all the way down there, 20 miles down the road? And I got to just forget the 20 miles and just look right down on my feet and go, where am I right today? And am I doing my best work today? I want to talk about this. I want to talk about we can do hard things. Let's talk a little bit about the way it's structured, because it's a really beautiful structure. And it's not like, we're not looking, listeners, it's not like you just open it up and it's just a bunch of long linear chapters. It's not written like that. It's not compiled like that. It is in, thank God, sound bites, because that's what can we know anymore? I can't read a chapter.
Yeah.
My brain won't hold a chapter.
It's a book for our times. All right?
Thank you. Like, can I have it in a paragraph?
That's right.
Like, that's how I can manage this. And so, I'd like to talk about your decision to structure it in the way that you did, and I guess also how you are envisioning your readers engaging with it. Because again, it's not just one. It's not all in order.
Yeah.
So you can both take that, or whoever wants to take that.
I mean, for how we came to this is what was so wild is, I don't know, after 400 or so conversations, it was so wild that, like, whether we were talking to, a person who's been a therapist for 40 years, or a person who's a poet, or a person who's an activist, there were just a handful of, like, questions under the questions that all of these people are struggling with. Like, the smartest people in the world are trying to figure out the same things that we're trying to figure out. And it was honestly just interesting. We started to call them threads. We're like, wow, that's the same thread as that. And that's that person is swirling around that same question that other person is. And maybe it's not just not us. And we started to, like, pull those threads out and say, like, what are they? Like, what are the big questions that are gnawing at all of these people who are by definition the wisest people we can locate? And they're all these 20 questions that we came up with. It's like the questions that are the ones that make you feel like you're doing it wrong, the ones that are under most of your fears, that are under most of your motivations to keep hustling, all of those things. Like, why am I like this?
Yeah.
This is the question I've been asking myself every day for my entire life. Like, I wish it were different, and I'd like to know why this is the case.
Yes. Yeah.
How do I forgive? This is you. How do I go on? Your wisdom in that chapter is, like, going to blow people's minds. How do I figure out what I want? Like, this is something that I feel like at one point we knew, and then we unlearned how to know that. It's just like, it's the same things we're struggling around. And so my hope, and I think this might be true because I've been doing it, is that, like, just a little while ago, I was trying to figure out something with parenting my son, and I swore I knew it at some point. Like, it's the same mountain I keep coming around.
Yeah.
And I went back and I read the chapter, Parenting, Am I Doing This Right? And I was like, oh yeah, that's the thing. Okay, I don't worry about fixing him. I don't worry about helping him. I just worry about seeing him and loving him. Okay, doesn't need my help. Great. Thank you. Moving
That's
right
right.
along.
I remembered again.
Yeah. And so I hope that I hope it'll be helpful to people. But that's how I've been using it. And it's I think it's just a freaking relief to know that, like, Michelle Obama and Jen Hatmaker and Adrienne Marie Brown are sitting in their houses worrying about the same shit that you're worried about.
Why am I like this? Yeah, exactly.
Even just that, even if we didn't have answers and we were just like, don't worry, everyone. They're wondering if they're doing sex right now.
No one else knows either. So yeah, that's right. Oh yeah. Exactly.
And I think like the way that I want to, like, the way that I interact with this book, because I read this book just like Sister every single day. This isn't something that came just from me.
Right.
Just from Sister, just from Glennon.
Right.
This is 118 of the wisest wayfinders that we know, that we've talked to on our podcast, in our real life, over email. These, when I open a chapter, I literally read one quote from somebody and I close it and I'm just like, oh, okay, yes. And I think our attention spans are a little bit wanting right now because of social media. And so for me, it's like, it's in bite-sized pieces of drop the mic wisdom.
Yes.
That can bring you to your knees, or make you stand up and go for a walk, or make you want to go and have that conversation, or make you want to go and just love on your person. To me, this is like the little breadcrumb of an idea of what is possible or what you can do in the world in your life right now to make you feel a little less alone right now.
That's so good. That's a perfect description.
It's so good. I honestly think just the questions, just the table of contents. I was reading it aloud to my mother-in-law last night. Our moms are in their 70s and 80s, and like her generation doesn't even ask these questions
That's exactly
aloud.
right.
Oh, wow. Yes.
That is
It's
so
revolutionary saying it out loud. You're
That is
right,
so true.
Amy.
Like I really just went through like 5 of the questions, and her face was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I've never asked it that simply."
Was there one that she felt most about? I'm so interested.
I think. Well, I didn't read all.
You didn't read the sex one, Amy?
I did.
Yeah. Am I doing sex
didn't.
right? Let's
I feel
get
like
into
I'm
it.
leaning into that next
Let's get into
conversation.
it. Yeah,
The first one of just, why am I like this?
Yeah.
And why am I angry?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, our moms did not get asked why they were angry. They weren't even
didn't-
allowed to feel angry, really.
They didn't show it,
Yeah.
and they certainly didn't talk about it, and they really didn't ask anyone that question.
No. Yeah. It's so true. This is progress.
Yeah.
That we have a whole book asking the questions, much less getting some brilliant answers out of them all. Like our kids are going to have it even better.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful.
I know.
So you've mentioned how many powerful voices are in this book. Kamala Harris, Ocean Vuong, Esther Perel, Ina Garden.
Our love.
So many. You refer to them as wayfinders. Yeah. Were there any contributions that really surprised you or just cracked you open and have words that have really stayed with you?
Yeah, like little personal faves.
Oof. This is a good question. Sissy?
That's a really good question. You know, our mutual, dear, beloved,
Here it comes.
I know I'm like collecting myself. I'm like, don't you cry. Don't pull it together, Doyle. So Kate Bowler, who we love, I had always been aware of this tendency in myself. Not always, but I thought that this was the breakthrough that I called it horizon living with myself, that I was always like looking ahead and like planning for that thing and getting excited for that thing, and never really being where I was.
Totally. It was the 20 miles down the road instead of where your feet are. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And so I knew that about myself, but then she talked about to us this idea. She said it was possible futures. That she said that her problem was failing to love what is present and deciding to love what is possible instead. And
She cuts right through it, doesn't she?
she really does. She'll get you. And I think that was huge to me, because I realized that like I was always doing what I thought was loving my people and what I thought was serving my people. And that effort was creating this possible future. That was the loving, that was the doing, that was my work, but it was always for the possible future and never arriving. Like I never was loving the version that was right now, the version of myself that is right now, the version of my family that is right now, the version of my house that is right now. It would always ahead and never arriving. And that is, I think where I am right now is really trying to figure out, like, is it possible to love a current version of anything?
Wow.
And because it's really sad. I was like flashing forward and I'm like, when I'm 80, am I still only gonna be loving possible futures? Because at some point there is no possible futures. And if you've only loved what's ahead, you've never loved what is. And that's so scary. So that's one of the things that kind of jolted me, and I'm trying very terribly to work on.
This is the exact kind of thing they're saying, you guys. Like that could be the one paragraph you read for the day and you can chew on it for 6 days.
Yeah.
Like you just stick it in your head, start taking a walk, think on it. Like it's packed with those things. Like that's what it is. Like here's just a real firm stone to stand on. Work on this one. Like that alone is enough to just recalibrate the way that you are moving through your days.
Yeah. And
It's a big one.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I struggled. You know, Amanda, you and I are so similar. And so
sorry,
anytime
Jen.
you just say, this is my thing, I'm like, God, it's also mine.
I have one of my favorites.
Let's
and
hear
Jen,
it.
This is from you. And it's in the How Do I Let Go chapter. And you say, I did not know I was codependent. I thought I was just being helpful.
Yeah. Well, felt helpful.
I did not realize how much I'd stunted anyone's ability to grow. My personal work for the last year and a half is figuring out how to let other human people just be human people all the way. Good, bad, hard, making good choices, making terrible choices because they're a person and that's their life. It's not mine. And I think that all mothers listening to this understand this so much, especially as the kids start getting older, start leaving the house. I'm thinking about this. Emma's a junior. Our youngest is a junior right now, and she's leaving the house after obviously her senior year. And I'm actually asking this question in this phase of my life, like, how do I go on after the 0 to 18 years of raising children?
Yeah.
Time goes. And I think that this codependency with the word motherhood, this codependency, you know, there's a really interesting thing that I'm learning about myself around that. And it's parenting is an easy label to carry and identify with, to leave yourself.
Yikes.
Do not pay attention to your own self.
Totally.
And that is utterly terrifying to me
Yep.
because I went from soccer player to mother.
Yeah, you did.
And now what? Now it feels like the real, I don't want to say test, but like the real confronting of myself. I have held on to this parenting thing with white knuckles as a way, I think, to avoid parts of myself from myself.
Certainly. I mean, it will supply the distraction should you want to use it that way.
It's really
Your cup runneth over with distraction.
I mean, that's exactly right.
It's really wonderful. And you know, it's things like this, like as I read through, because I read through this book, as I read through it, knowing that you, Jen Hatmaker, a woman I esteem, I hold on a very high platform, that I believe you. I think that your work in the world is so important and it's so amazing. And I think, oh my gosh, Jen feels this way too. Me too. And this book is just about like feeling seen, feeling less alone, and having a little bit of guidance, you know, having a little bit of like, oh, maybe that's what that is. And, you know, some of it's maybe not. Maybe that's not for you. Maybe it doesn't fit your particular life that you're living right now.
Sure.
This stuff that's in here is like a hard earned wisdom. You came to know that in a way that is helping me prepare. And I think that that is why this, that is why doing life together is so important. We're so siloed.
Yeah.
We're so in our own zones and worrying about our own bullshit stuff that we forget, like, we just need to zoom out.
Yep.
What is really happening here? This is not my problems that I'm experiencing, my life and the things that are happening to me. This is not the first time this has ever happened.
That's right. Right. That's right.
It's so true because we
That's
used
so
to
right.
live in intergenerational communities.
Yeah.
For
of course.
good damn reason.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And now we are lonelier because
Yes.
some of us don't have anyone. And the people who do have people are usually people who are your age and just as clueless as you are. They
That's
only
right.
know what you do.
That is so true.
And this is a bad
Yeah.
model.
Yeah. It is.
It's a bad model. We need Michelle
we need our
Obama to be
elders.
like,
Yes.
marriage is really freaking hard. And the reason it is you're taking 2 lives and you're smushing it together and maybe you're adding more lives. And then they're like, have fun.
Yeah. Good luck with it.
And it's like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us that, because I'm looking over at my friends and we're just like, yeah, things are fine. Things are generally fine. Thanks.
I'm breathing.
Thumbs up. It's so true. It's such a relief to settle in to our human bones and just know we're all walking around in them. Literally everyone. Michelle Obama is walking around like a person. You know what I
Pretending
mean?
to be a person.
She's got daughters. They're doing shit she doesn't like, like Barack's on her nerves. Like, she's just a person like everybody, and we all are, and that is a relief.
It is.
So that through line alone in the book is a gift to the reader. Just to go, it's not just your weird little mind
Right.
and your weird little anxieties like wrapping its tentacles. This is just living, and together we can do it better.
Man. Abby, there's a moment in the book where you write about unlearning your long held belief that your worth was tied to your usefulness. That your value came from how hard you can push yourself, how often you can win. Can you kind of go back to that moment of realization?
Oh God, I love usefulness.
And what you've realized it cost for you to believe that for so long.
Throughout my soccer career, I'm the youngest of 7 kids. I grew up in a big family that did lots of sports. And I think from a very young age, I realized, the way that I'm going to get love and attention is by doing something in a profound-ish way. I happen to be really athletic, and I happen to be very unafraid of risk with my body. And one thing leads to another. I go to college, I play on the national team, and I'm playing on the national team for many years, and I'm winning things, and I'm essentially having this experience of reaching the top of the mountain and finding, I didn't feel different. I didn't feel that warm coat of love or worthiness that I thought. And it's interesting because all the times that I won a gold medal, I'd be on the podium, I'd get the gold medal around my neck, they'd play the national anthem, and I would step off. And my first thought was, and this is the insanity of professional sport, but my first thought was, I want to do that again.
Yeah.
And I was then given the Player of the Year award in like the world.
The category was the universe.
This world.
Just like for every everyone that's alive.
Yeah.
So it's no big deal. It's fine.
And-
Keep going.
And I remember getting back
Yeah.
to my hotel room that night and looking in the mirror and thinking to myself, now's got to be the moment where you feel it.
Totally. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. This is so relatable.
And I didn't feel it. I thought, well, that's weird.
Here I still am.
This whole
Yeah.
work, this whole effort, this whole blood, sweat, and tears thing didn't bring me the thing that I thought it was going to bring me. And it brought me some things, but I think the thing that it made me understand, and it's funny because right at that moment, my statistics started to decline. I didn't retire for a few years later. But right at that moment, I started to score fewer goals. Because it didn't feel like worth it. And I knew that if that wasn't going to do it, nothing would.
This is such like a big time insight.
And then I met Glennon after I retired, and then I started having children, and this drive for extraordinary, which is what we're all sold. It's what everybody in this world thinks we're supposed to be doing, is go get the biggest, best job you can get, be as successful as you possibly can, and then you will have reached the promised land. And I am here to tell you, the promised land is more in the ordinary than it is in the extraordinary. The promised land is in the slow and consistent and the contentment that one can build on feeling like they've put in a good day's work.
Yeah.
On feeling like, oh, this meal that I'm making my family is going to really feed and nourish them. And that brings me joy. And by the way, focal point energy on extraordinary versus ordinary, if we could put more attention on the ordinary of our lives rather than this extraordinary, you will experience extraordinary moments, but you will be completely in the in the embodiment of that extraordinary, and it will feel big, and it will feel life altering, and then you return back to your ordinary. But the baseline, the goal, is a beautiful ordinary life. Not a highly extraordinary life. And I think that we get a little mixed up here.
Oh, that's not the message. It's the opposite.
It is. It is. And there's just in my experience, there is no there. There just isn't, because you can get the money, you can get the fame.
Yeah.
Both. I have experience with both.
Yeah.
And there is, for me and my body and my conditioning and my family upbringing, and wanting that love and attention growing up, I was outsourcing that.
Yeah.
And so I've been on a walk with myself towards self-love over the last couple of years. I've been working on my shadow side as a 7 Enneagram.
Sure.
Thank you, Suzanne Stabile.
I mean,
also F you, Suzanne Stabile.
Yeah. No, listen. She read us our rights.
I
So,
love you.
Yeah.
And also the last couple of years have been tough. And thank you. Ultimately, thank you.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of my story, and it's in this book.
So
and
good, Abby.
it is hard. It is interesting how hard it is for me to love myself. And that's
I
where
know,
I'm
it's
at
so
right now.
crazy because you're objectively
Yeah.
the most lovable person.
Yeah. Ask anyone.
I mean,
Like
anyone.
literally ask anyone.
It's not open for debate. And so it's so interesting to me, and it makes me like, seeing you struggle with loving yourself makes me think it's intellectually possible that the things I say about myself might not be true.
Yes.
Because it's so clear to me that you're so dead ass wrong about
right.
your lovability
Yeah.
that it
Right.
makes me think,
Oh, maybe I
it's-
am.
Yes, maybe it's
That's-
possible that I'm not as terrible of a human as I believe I am. You know?
That's literally my last question because you guys have to get on with your life. Because there's this thread in the book about self-love, self-loyalty. And that picks up in lots of the questions, like that idea, moving from self-betrayal, which unfortunately comes naturally, to self-love and self-loyalty, this whole process. And my question, I'd like both of you to answer honestly. as best we can, because we're in it at the same time. But why do you think that self-loyalty is so hard for women? It should come naturally. It should. Through anthropology, just through evolution, self-loyalty should be the way that we survive. And instead, our instinct is the opposite, where I can be as loyal to you guys as the day is long. That's so easy for me, just like you just said, Amanda. That's the self part. What has happened to reverse what should have been a pretty natural instinct for us?
You know, I've never thought about this, but as you said that, I think that we were probably born with self-loyalty. But I don't agree that evolutionarily or adaptively we've been taught anything else besides the way you survive is by betraying your instincts, is numbing what makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, we are taught that our job as women is to enter into any space, scan for the power that exists, and do whatever it takes to make that person comfortable.
Correct.
Our existence, there's a terrible joke that is offensive to the core of you that still has the modicum of a voice. Your job is to giggle as if you think it's hilarious. Someone wants, I do this. I am a feminist. I'm a women's studies major. I have spent time in, maximum security prisons, interviewing women who killed their abusers to try to figure out how to use the legal system to prevent that in the future. That is who I am. And recently I was standing in a restaurant and this interaction happened with this man where he basically wanted a hug and I made him comfortable. That's what I did in that moment. I had nothing to lose. I walked away with such shame in me because I had nothing to lose. There was nothing on the line. My job wasn't on the line. The only thing that was on the line was that gentleman that was standing there would feel, who I would never see again.
That's right.
And who had no authority over me, would feel mildly uncomfortable.
That's right.
Ugh.
That
So familiar.
is so how we are raised.
Yeah.
That, of course. And then we ask ourselves, how do I know? Why don't I know what I want? Why don't I know what I should do? Because you've spent your entire life squelching the part of you that speaks and says, I don't like that. I don't think that's funny. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't like your tone of voice with me. That is how we have survived these spaces. And so that is the thing we have to undo from the inside to the outside, to start letting the world feel uncomfortable and not accepting that we have to feel uncomfortable all the time, and rousing that part of us that does feel uncomfortable and saying, good. Yes, I want to hear from you. Be louder.
Yeah. And I think to add to that, I like to question, like, I'm in a phase right now in terms of like self-love, because I've done this similar thing in terms of making everybody comfortable. And if I were to draw some of my life experiences back to when I was younger and why I was conditioned to believe and feel some of the ways that I feel that have required me survival mechanisms, parts of myself to change or morph in ways that take me away from myself and to have a little bit of self-hatred. I go back to when I was a kid on the soccer field, and I'm the best one out there between the girls and the boys on a co-ed team, but I'm still picked last.
Yeah.
That lays a pretty interesting foundation down.
Sure does.
For me as a person. And I was able to develop enough self-confidence in the game of soccer. So when I'm in the soccer environment, Abby is confident. Abby is not making jokes and laughing and giggling at the boys next to her. But in the real world, this is the expectation of us. The expectation is that we, I just wish the world hated women less.
Yes.
Because I think that at the end of the day, that's what this comes down to. It's not just men. It's also women. Mm-hmm. We do it almost worse to ourselves in a way. There's a weird thing that we do. And it's because that's what that's the water we've been swimming in.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I like to question the moments in my life where, how did I learn this? How did I come to this understanding of myself? Mm-hmm. And that's the work that I'm doing in therapy, is like, why did I act this way in this environment? Mm-hmm. And trying to draw the line back to what was the lesson and what age was I? Because a lot of these parts of me are pretty young.
That's right.
Are pretty like, what the fuck with this? Like, I can imagine my younger self sitting and being lined up and being picked last and being 5, 6, 7, 8 years old going, well, this is not fair.
Yeah.
And then nobody explains to me why it's not fair. And so then and then more decisions, more life experience brings me into my 44-year-old body going, I don't know why I can't love myself.
Totally.
That's weird.
Yeah. Right.
It's not
right.
weird. It's
not weird.
This is how the whole system has been set up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It is the work of our lifetime to reverse those messages and also overcome our own aversion to discomfort, because for the longest time, somebody else's discomfort is the worst deterrent for me that I could think of.
Yes.
I couldn't think of a worse thing than somebody in the room not getting what they wanted, or being challenged on their shittiness, or me not letting them have this ideal of themselves in the room.
Yes.
I just can't imagine their bad feelings.
Yeah.
So yeah, telling the own internal part of me that craves comfort, hey, the discomfort, the uncomfortable part of me can be louder.
Yeah.
And I can just be like, oh, hey, I don't like that.
Yeah. Your comfort is not contingent upon other people. In fact, you actually have a locus of comfort and discomfort that is distinct from other humans. And so like when you're like, I can't tolerate this feeling because that person's uncomfortable, which is how I live my life.
Sure.
I would love to locate in me a barometer of comfort and discomfort that exists independent of other
That's
people.
good.
Man.
That's it. This is the kind of shit that's in here. So like these are like cornerstones that we can build the whole house on. And so many of the smaller problems get uplinked to kind of the same big ideas. We just circle around them over and over. And this is why this is a real gift to put in the hands of everybody. And I love everything about it. I love the 20 questions. I love the format. I love the collective wisdom of the people. This isn't just one myopic idea from one located perspective.
Yes,
I mean, this is trustworthy wisdom. It's broad. It's broad and it's inclusive. And I think people are going to be stunned by it. It's going to be a great conversation starter. We're going to be reading it to our mother-in-laws.
Sure are.
When they're living with us temporarily.
Thank you for having us. You guys are the very best. We love you so much.
You are.
Amy and Jen, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
Thank you.
Before y'all sign off, where can we send people to get the book?
The tour.
How can they stay in touch with you? How can they find out about the tour?
Oh,
Give us a rundown.
Yeah, you get the books wherever you get books.
Yeah, I like that.
We're going on tour, and I think the tour is sold out.
But we are doing, depending on when this airs, we have a virtual event on May 6th that folks can join, which is very exciting. And then, and there it is. There it is.
That's it, you guys.
Yeah.
I love.
We need to get better at pitching ourselves. We're like, also,
you just get books wherever you buy books. So there's that. You can find us on the internet where everyone else is.
Treatmedia.com. We have the links to wherever you can buy books.
Yeah, that's
perfect.
But also, we trust you.
Yeah,
you can trust yourself.
Yeah,
so get your book wherever you want it.
I believe in them to find it. I really, really do. Okay, you guys. Well, Love you. I just
love you guys so much.
Love
I have
you to
another
pieces,
Thank
podcast.
y'all.
All right. So their book is out now. It is available to you. And I think this is one of those great books that you would love to read with your daughters, with your sisters, read it with your best friends. Just pick through it slowly, bit by bit at a time. Because really, these are probably the 20 questions that most of us circle the drain around almost our entire life. So we'd love to hear your thoughts too, by the way. If you go over to jenhatmaker.com, under the podcast tab, you will see a send voicemail button. And just like that, just tap it, leave us a message for a minute or two, and you can tell us your thoughts on this interview, your thoughts on one of these big questions we're asking and trying to answer, your response, to anything that you heard today or something that you'd love to talk more about. We listen to all of those, and some of those will get played on the show. So that's over at jenhatmaker.com under podcast, which also is where all these show notes are. And we will also round up all the links for you, just to the girls' podcast and their book and their spaces and all the things. So one-stop shop for you. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show if you haven't already. Put it in your little online library that comes through wherever you listen to podcasts. It'll take you less than 5 seconds to subscribe. So we sure love our subscribers. It means the world to us. All right, you guys, thanks for being here today, and more to come, and we'll see you next week.